Hi, my name is Matthew Belisario. Welcome to another edition of the Belisario Sonic YouTube channel. Today, a video on budgeting or prioritizing for your vinyl addiction. So this is one of these things that all of us record collectors have to do, is try to figure out with all these records, what are we going to prioritize for our purchases? Unless we're independently wealthy, we can't get everything that we want, right? So I'm going to talk today just a little bit about how I prioritize my record purchases. Now, I'm not going to lecture you on how to budget because I have a hard time staying in my budget every month. I always seem to spend more than what I need to spend. But what I do is I try to prioritize my records in a certain way, and hopefully this will help you prioritize as well, no matter what genre you collect. Now, I collect all genres of music, so I'll buy a country record, a classical record, a jazz record, blues, rock, progressive rock, R&B, you name it, I'll buy it. I have a wide spectrum of musical tastes, so I will. It makes it really difficult for me to prioritize with all these different things coming out now, especially with these quality record pressings that are coming out now. From Acoustic Sounds, QRP. You've got the Blue Note Tone Poet stuff coming out. You've got Craft Records coming out with great stuff. You've got even some of the releases from some of the rock labels, if they're sourced from the analog sources, are pretty nice, a lot of those. So you have to try to prioritize. So kind of how I do it is, first of all, I eliminate all the junk. And I've been collecting vinyl records for a long time, since I was 8 years old. So when I got my first Kiss record, and I'm 50 years old, so I've got a lot of experience buying vinyl records, and I've been buying them throughout my whole life. And that has some advantages, because back during the late 80s, all the way through the 90s, nobody wanted these vinyl records, and I still collected them. So I was able to purchase a lot of the classic rock stuff, original pressings in good shape for $2, $3, $4 when nobody wanted them. So I have all the, like most of the Pink Floyd releases, the Allman Brothers, The Who, Bob Dylan, all those classic rock records. They were all really cheap, so I purchased a lot of those records back in the day when nobody wanted them. So whenever any of those new pressings come out, I'm not looking to get those to replace what I've got, usually, unless it's something that's been remixed and sourced from the original analog tape. So that's what I want to talk about first. Eliminate the junk. All of this stuff, pretty much people recorded on analog tape all the way up until the mid 80s, some all the way up until like 1988, and after that it kind of went digital. So if you've got a repressing that comes out of one of these classic rock records and you cannot confirm that it's from the analog source, I don't waste my money on it. That's it. I don't waste my money on it. So that eliminates a lot of stuff, because a lot of the stuff that's coming out, especially if it's just some of this cheap import stuff, and you find a lot of this with the blues records and the jazz records, like these companies like DOL and Pan Am and some of these other ones, they're putting out these $14.99, $12.99 vinyl records. They're all garbage. They're all sourced from a low quality digital source, and they're not very good pressings, and they sound like crap. So all that stuff I eliminate. I don't waste my time on. So when I'm buying new records, if they're brand new, I want quality. And if I got to pay 30 or 35 bucks for quality pressing on something I really want, then I'll pay it. And I look for deals as well online or in my local record store. I will still buy used records as well. So let's start off by just eliminating the junk. Don't buy any of this stuff. If it says you go in there and you're going through the jazz records, and these are all over the place now, these cheap jazz records that are $14.99, $15.99, and they're DOL, Pan Am, and a couple of these other ones, and they say extra bonus tracks, this and that. Don't waste your money on those. That's my opinion. I'd rather have one quality pressing from Acoustic Sounds or Tone Poet, Blue Note. I'd rather have one of those records, quality pressing, of a record that I really like, versus two of those other ones that are crappy, that are sourced from a digital source. So that's my first recommendation, is don't waste your money on things that were originally sourced from the analog that are now digitally cut to vinyl. I don't waste my money on those. So just take all those away right off the top. Now for me, where I'm at in record collecting, I prioritize. I put the jazz releases ahead of the other genres because they seem to be less of them pressed. They're very good quality and they disappear quicker. So, for example, one of the ones I just bought in the record store the other day was this Chet Atkins Craft recording. This was only 22 bucks. This is a good deal. I mean, this is a pretty good value for your money. It's sourced from the analog sources. Craft Records makes quality products. And this is one of the Chet records that I've been wanting to get. So when I saw this in the record store, and I've been looking at them online, and I kind of had it on my list, and I saw that they were going pretty quick. I saw it at the record store. I was like, you know what, I'll pick it up. This is one of the ones I want. So this is one of the ones I bought this month. So that's the jazz records are some of the ones that I'm drawn to right now. And again, it's just because I've been collecting vinyl for a long time that a lot of the stuff in the rock genre that was recorded analog, I have a lot of that stuff and it's in good shape and it's original recording. So I've been collecting jazz records for probably about the last 15 years. And so my jazz collection is growing. But, you know, a lot of those original pressings for the jazz recordings on Impulse and Blue Note were so expensive. So expensive to get the original copy in decent shape that, you know, these are welcome additions, these pressings from QRP and Blue Note and companies like that, Kraft. This one I ran into the other day at the record store as well, and this is one of the records I've been wanting to get for a while. I haven't been able to find a one in good shape that's an original pressing at a decent price. And there were 3 different ones in there that were three different companies that had pressed it. So I was like, oh man, which ones are these? You know, are these analog sourced or what? So I got online, and the company that pressed this, which is called Superior Viaduct, says that this is from the analog source. So I picked this one up, and it sounds great. It's a solid pressing. I think this was 22 bucks. And so I'm pretty happy with this purchase. This is a great album. So if I can get, you know, a quality product for 25 bucks, 30 bucks, those are kind of what I'm looking for. Again, I just did a video on these acoustic sounds. This one here was around for a while, and it kind of seemed like it disappeared, and then it came back around again. I noticed it online, so I grabbed it because it's been on my list, but it's kind of been down in the middle, and then I end up spending money on other stuff, and then I'm like, oh man, I still need to get that Coltrane. So I saw it online, and I think it was like 26 bucks, and I picked it up, and this is a great sounding album. Again, QRP, Acoustic Sounds. This one just got released, and I picked this up online as well. It was like 30 bucks, 35 bucks, and this is a fantastic sounding record. Again, I did the video before this one. I did a review on QRP Acoustic Sounds. So those are great pressings. So when I see one of those that I really want that comes out on that record label, I don't hesitate too much. I will, you know, again, I have to prioritize because I'm buying other stuff. So I walked into the record store the other day, bought this used. This was $4, brand new, still sealed, this Nat King Cole. So things like this, if I see them at a good price, they're still sealed, and it's something I don't have in my collection that I want, I'll pick those up. A modern recording that was recorded that sounds fantastic on vinyl is this Melody Gardot record. This is a beautiful record. 2 LPs. It was on sale, I think, for $33 to $33. And I love this record. It's quiet pressing. It sounds really good. And it's a modern pressing. And again, hers seem to, when they go, you can't find them. It's like they don't repress hers very often. So if you're a Melody or Gardot fan, this is a great pressing to get. So I kind of prioritized this one when I saw it on sale. Normally it was like $38, and it was like 32 bucks on sale, and I really liked the record, so I went ahead and got it. I picked up a couple of the other cheaper Blue Notes that were on sale, and these are good quality records. Even the 80th anniversary and the one that were put out in 2019, I picked these up. And these are good quality records, and they are sourced from the analog sources. They're just not as nice as the Blue Note Tone Poet series. They're not the same packaging, and they're not quite as nice of pressings, but they're pretty good for the price. And these are 2 albums I really like that I didn't have in my collection. They were on sale online for $17.99, I think. So I went ahead and picked these up just because they were a good price. So that's another thing I take into consideration is, you know, these are $23 records, $24 records. And if I see them on sale for 17 or 18 bucks, I'll go ahead and grab them as long as they're not the 75th anniversary. I wouldn't pick those up. Those were all digitally sourced. But anyways, so I picked those up this month. And then again, while I was in the record store, I ran across some more used records. And that's kind of an Achilles heel of mine is I'll go in. I've got a budget for the month I try to stick to, all the way, I go over it a lot. But I'll walk in there and I'll be like, oh man, 2 Art Pepper records that are like brand new. They've almost never been played. They're only $7 a piece. Most people don't know who Art Pepper is probably. He's one of my favorite jazz musicians. So I saw these two and I didn't have them in my collection. So there's, 15 bucks that I spent that I didn't plan on spending. But those are those pleasant surprises when you go in there and you find these records that haven't even been played and they're one of your favorite artists and it's like $7. It's like I can't pass it up. Now I did a video on the Tone Poets. These are 2 of the ones I picked up this month. This Donald Byrd Chant and this Andrew Hill. These were 2 of the ones I had on my list in the middle of the list that I wanted to get. And then they seemed like they were disappearing and I didn't see them as often. I was like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to get that Andrew Hill. And then I saw them show back up again. So they must have done another run of these. So I went ahead and picked both of these up and I'm glad I did. These are 2 great records. So sometimes you get lucky. You see some of these good quality records and all of a sudden they disappear and you don't think that they're going to come back. And then more of them show back up and you're able to get them. So I consider myself lucky on those just because I didn't think I was going to be able to find those again at a decent price. So now over to the classic rock. I bought a few of those this month. And again, these were ones I didn't have in my collection. So I didn't have any original pressings of them from the 70s. And that's this Thin Lizzy, Black Rose, my favorite Thin Lizzy album. And that's actually the only vinyl Thin Lizzy album that I have. And I saw this online and these are imports. They say they come from the analog source. Very quiet record. Sounds really good. I noticed that some of these are disappearing. For example, Jailbreak, their most popular album, you can't find that reissue anymore too much online, or if you are, it's more expensive. So when I saw this one, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and grab this. I love this. This is a great classic rock record, so I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. So I picked this one up this month. This is one of my classic rock purchases, repressings. So I'm pretty happy with that. Another one was a Deep Purple one that I didn't have, and it's one of my favorite Deep Purple albums. Now, you can still find these repressings. They're the purple repressing that they put out, but some of them are starting to disappear. So, for example, Machine Head, it's getting harder and harder to find the repressing purple vinyl. So when I saw this one online, I picked it up. So this is one of my favorite Deep Purple albums. So this was another classic rock album that I picked up. Then I picked up another used album the other day. Pat Travers was $4. The vinyl looks like it's hardly never been played. The cover's a little beat up, but not bad, but it's $4. So it was one of those kind of pleasant findings where I'm like, oh, this is in good shape, a great classic rock record, great guitar playing. And I just picked this one up. And so this was one of the ones that I bought this month. So that kind of gives you an idea of kind of how I prioritize. I'm looking for, when I'm buying new, I want it to be a quality product. And I'm looking at how they're selling online. So right now it looks like the jazz stuff, the repressings, a lot of those that are really good records they don't last as long. So those are the ones that I'm going after first. And then if they're different classic rock records like that Thin Lizzy, that Deep Purple, things like that I don't have in my collection that I find a good pressing of that's from the analog sources, I'll grab those. And of course, some of it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes I get into where I'm into classical music, so I'll see a pressing that comes out, a new one that's a quality pressing, even if it's from a digital source. If it's from a high quality digital source and it's done right, they sound pretty good on vinyl. So I'm always open to those as well. So as far as some of the disappointments in the quality pressings, Mobile Fidelity is just really disappointing to me on some of the things that they're putting out. I mean, a Blood, Sweat, and Tears $125 record. It wasn't even a good record when it came. I mean, you're talking about the driest American AM radio stuff that was ever made. And when I was a kid, I remember listening to some of those songs, and I was like, so, I would just call that bland AM radio and mobile fidelities, putting that out, and people are paying $125 for a blood, sweat, and tears. Now, if you're into that and you like it, hey, more power to you. But if I'm spending $100 on a record, I want it to be something like the Miles Davis kind of blue, which I did pay $100 for, and I'm waiting for that to come from Acoustic Sounds. So for something like that, it's got to be, if I'm going to pay $100 for a pressing, it better be a damn good record, not some, Janis Joplin Pearl. I mean, it's an okay record. It's not, to me, worth putting on a $125 pressing. I mean, it's just, for me, those were $2 in perfect shape, original pressing. I picked up back in the 80s and 90s when nobody wanted them, and it was an okay record. I wouldn't call it a great record. So for me, I prioritize not based on how much it's going to be worth, because if you go by that blood, sweat, and tears, yeah, I might be able to flip that for twice the amount next year or trade it in. But I don't use vinyl records as stock options. That's not what it's about for me. If I spend $100 on a record, it better be a damn good record, and it better be a damn good pressing, and something that I'm going to put on and I'm going to listen to and really enjoy. And it's worth, when it's sitting there spinning on my turntable and it's $100, I better be happy with that. One of my favorite record pressings. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I take very seriously the amount these records cost, and people are on budgets. You really got to prioritize and think about what you're doing and not get sucked into the marketing, because these companies are pretty good at marketing. Oh, we're going to put out this blood, sweat, and tears limited edition, this and that. And it's like, dude, I don't care what kind of hype you put behind that. That ain't worth $125. The music's not worth that. It's just not good music. It's just, to me, dry music. Again, a lot of this is subjective, but the point I'm trying to make is get the stuff that you really want to get, your favorite, very favorite rock albums or blues albums or jazz, whatever genre you're buying. Get the ones you really want. It doesn't matter whether they're limited or not. If it's limited and it's something you really want, fine, go get it. But don't buy it just because it's a limited edition, because they put it on a red vinyl edition and they only made 2,000 of them. And it's like, well, I'm kind of a fan. I'll give you a perfect example. If you want to do stock options in vinyl, the Grateful Dead is a great place to go. Those Dead fans will buy all those records up, and you can't find them. Even the CDs, the Dick's Picks, all that kind of stuff. When they come out on vinyl, they're gone, and they're worth a lot of money. Personally, I'm not a big Grateful Dead fan. Never have been. I got a couple of things on, a couple of things with the Grateful Dead. I'm just not a big Grateful Dead fan. So when they come out with some kind of concert album that's limited to 5,000 or whatever it is, and I know it's going to go up, I don't go out and buy it because it's a stock option. I don't care. I've got other things I want to purchase. I don't have the money to go say I'm going to go get this Grateful Dead record that's $80 or $50 because it's triple vinyl or whatever it is, and then I'm going to put that away because I'm never going to listen to it. So it's going to sit on my shelf, and then I'm going to go back later and flip it or trade it. That's just not what I'm about. I'm not criticizing people that want to do that, or if you have the money and you want to do that, that's fine. But that's just not, to me, I don't have the time to do that, and I don't have the money to waste on that kind of stuff. If I buy something, I want to listen to it, and I want it to be a quality record. So that's kind of how I balance them. I prioritize by putting the top quality of my favorite artists. I'm kind of leaning more towards the jazz side right now of collecting that stuff, just because a lot of those records I really want, and they seem to go quick. A lot of the classic rock stuff, the Zeppelin stuff, for example, that stuff's been around for a long time. Even the box sets you can still find at reasonable prices if you want to get the classic rock stuff. Most of the time, the stuff, they make enough of it and you can get it later. So, and that's what I did with the Led Zeppelin. I bought Led Zeppelin 2, the remaster. I bought 4, the remaster. Presents, I think I got 3 or 4 of those. And I purchased those just kind of like here and there. Oh, it's on sale on online. I'll go grab a copy because, yeah, I don't have that when I want it, and I've got some money where I want to listen to some rock music, and that's a great album. So things like that. So that's just kind of how I prioritize on what I'm going to buy. And again, I'm not always in my budget, but those are just some things that you can think about and take into account, and just don't buy junk. If you can just don't, and that goes for used records too. Don't buy beat up used records that are scratched up. Just don't waste your time on the junk, and that will eliminate a lot of the issues you have as far as buying vinyl. So that's all I've got for today. Join me on the next video, and like and subscribe to me, and I would appreciate that, and we'll talk to you later.